coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
My name is Craig Thompson-Wood, and welcome back to the Board Game Teacher, or welcome back if this is your first time out. Today we're going to talk about where to begin. You've decided you want to buy a board game. Hopefully you've looked at my first video, which talks about some of the parameters you might want to consider when buying a board game, but after that, where do you go? Well, there's a lot of things to consider when buying a board game, and if you're asking yourself, well, what's the right board game for me, for my student, for my child, it's kind of like asking what's the best music out there. I'm not trying to start any fight with the music teachers, but there are, according to Board Game Geek, over 90,300 board games currently on their system. So that's an awful lot to be sifting through. And they're in a variety of styles, a variety of genres, a variety of everything. So deciding which one is the right one for you can take quite a bit of work. So where do you even begin? Well, you're here, aren't you? So obviously YouTube is one of the best places to be looking, where you can actually see some of these board games, what they look like, what's inside them, how they play. And there's a lot of reviewers out there too, which can give you some ideas of whether the board games are good games or not. One reviewer I can recommend to you is Tom Vassell of the Dice Tower. If you look up the Dice Tower on YouTube, they have a lot of videos, a lot of videos on all kinds of different board games, and they even have subsections of games, as family games, children's games, etc. So depending on what you're looking for, that would be one of the first places I would look. And then Dice Tower will give you reviews on those games and tell you what they think and talk a little bit about the game, and from there you can maybe get the sense of whether you feel that that's the right one for you, or maybe want to investigate it further. Another channel I can recommend to you is Watch It Played by Rodney Smith. Rodney Smith doesn't review any games. What he does is he teaches how to play them, and he's the best out there, as considered by many. And he's a fellow Canadian. So keep up the good work, Rodney. So Watch It Played, Dice Tower, two channels I would recommend for you on YouTube as a good starting point. Board Game Geek, as I've mentioned before, is the world's premier database on all things board games. They have other game stuff there as well, but for now we're just going to be focusing on the board games. They have information on just about every game that's out there, and I sometimes find that the site's a bit overwhelming. It's a bit convoluted. There's a lot of word walls up there, but if you get past that, then it's got a lot of good information. If you just do a search for the game, bring up the game, and then it's going to give you information on the publishers, the designers, the age ranges, the time played. They'll have videos, any linked videos directly on that site. They will have forum discussions, all kinds of things. So Board Game Geek is another great resource to be looking at when considering purchasing a new board game. Meetup groups and any local community board game groups that you have are a great way to find out more about games, because there you'll get to meet other gamers who can then maybe give you more recommendations. You can talk to them about some of the things you're looking for and get some suggestions from other people. But more importantly, you can play the games. By playing the games, you get to know a lot about them. You get a real good sense of whether it really is an appropriate game for you, whether it really is something that you would like to take to your child or to your students and teach them and use it as that educational tool. So by playing the games with other people, you're not even having to commit to buying the game. So you get a chance to try it out before you even have to shell out a penny. So my strong advice to you is just keep searching. There's a lot out there, a lot to sift through, but if you keep at it, I'm sure you'll find games that are right for you, because there's just so many out there, and there are truly some great games with some good teaching applications in a variety of subject matters. So if you keep searching, and I'm sure you'll find that, but keep in mind too those parameters I mentioned in my previous video, which will help to narrow your search. And while this may take a while to get to the point that you want, consider also playing some of those games that are more familiar to you. games that you already know from your own childhood, and look, take another look at them and see what you might be able to do to use those, and what teaching applications and learning skills can be taught through the play of that game. So if you have any questions or comments, then please leave me a comment below. In my next videos, I will be looking at some of those more common board games, those sort of classic board games, and some of the teaching applications of those. And after that, I'll start moving into some games which are lesser known, but are really wonderful games with some amazing teaching applications in classrooms and at home. So until then, thanks for coming out to the classroom. I'm Craig Thompson-Wood, the board game teacher. Thank you very much.
Are you coming back to school with